Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Yoshino. Welcome back to week 6 of the anime Battle Royale. And, to be 100% honest, I really didn't think I would make it this far. Especially after last week, where I blame myself personally for taking so long getting it out there, but I also want to blame my technology just a little bit. I don't know what was going on. Hopefully this week is better. I've done some tweaking, done some re-downloading of some stuff. But last week, every time I would export a video, I would double check it, quality assurance. And instead of having video wherever I had something pop up on screen, it would just cut to black. Audio worked just fine, but video would go down. Even if I had just text on the screen, it would go down during that part. Don't know what that is. Never seen that before, never heard of anything like that before. We're back again watching the anime community burn to the ground as interspecies reviewers just continues to meme its way to number one in the, honestly to me, hilarious way possible, because Mal is taking itself way too seriously and is trying to play the tough guy in the situation when they have nothing to be proud of, to be 100% honest. They got nothing. And they're trying to be tough, so that is neither here nor there, because right now we're here for the Anime Battle Royale, which is where we watch the 13 most anticipated shows of the season, knocking off one each week to see which one's the best show this season. And I feel bad for last week because there was two shows that I'm kind of done with, but I had to only kill one of them. And I'm very sorry, Bofuri, but you just weren't pulling it off as much as Nekopara. But with that being said, did Nekopara improve this week? Did any shows do worse this week? Is anything better this week? Is my life going to go the way I want it to? Probably not. I'm here on YouTube. Either way, let's get into it. Starting with our first show this week. And starting out each week, I love it. It's It Invaded. And I gotta say, I called it on a couple of small things. I want to say this show is definitely very, very smart, but it's not as smart as I want it to be. Other people have been arguing around saying that, oh, this is a new genius film. And I agree that it is very, very well written. There is one thing that is bugging me, and that is the info dumping that it's doing. It's not so bad, but some of the leaps of faith these characters are making to come up with an answer just don't feel natural. Now, for some of the characters, it does. The main guy right here, his stuff makes total sense. Whenever he comes up with something crazy, it's because he's a genius detective. He doesn't think the way everybody else does. He thinks like a serial killer does. And the same thing can be said for, I'm going to try for it, Hondomachi, the other little girl-looking chick. She is a serial killer. They bring that up. Even if she hasn't killed anyone, she has the mindset of a serial killer. And I think that's very well done in this series. Like I said, it kind of brings up the fact that she could be a protege for this guy. I thought that was a good thing. They're pointing out, no, this is a bad thing. But I like the way they're going about it. The characters who are in the psychopath analysis room, whatever it is supposed to be, they're a little bit underwritten. Some of the characters are good. You get their personalities, especially in their designs. But what you don't get is just how the information is being passed along. Yeah, there's some leaps of faith and techno mumbo jumbo going on, but a lot of it is kind of lost when the characters are just like, maybe this guy is actually doing the same thing we're doing. There's no information to get us to that point. It is literally thrown in there. And the funny thing is that one of the characters dismisses it like right away, but the other characters are like, let's just run with it. I can believe that, but like, it feels a little too forced. Like I said, the only characters that feel really, really good and fleshed out is this main guy and the chick, the little girl chick. The rest of them just feel a little contrived for the story. But from looking at the guys who wrote, direct, and all this kind of stuff, this is a little tame for their stuff. So I think it's a little bit more accessible, and that's why it's a little bit more info dumpy. But it's working for what it is. All of my complaints so far, and this is still the best show of the season. when you have nothing bad to say about it as a whole, you start nitpicking things. I've been nitpicking this show from the start, but I love it. It is great. It is beautiful. Going nowhere. Number 1. It's first in our order, and it's first in my list. So, what else do we got? I just realized how many shows have been dropped that were towards the bottom of the list, because this was usually about the point that was getting close to halfway. And now this is our second show going up. But Hanako-kun continues to be that right amount of mystery and comedy and, strangely enough, romance. I didn't originally get that in my first reading of the manga, but I am a dense anime protagonist, apparently, because I don't get romance. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. But regardless, moving on, this show continues to be great. There are some small problems with it, and kind of the way they're trying to build this romance and these characters. I can tell it's definitely not written with me as a consumer in mind, but it's still enjoyable to a broader audience. So I'm still getting enjoyment out of this. It's just not the exact same things that everybody else is getting enjoyment out of. So to say this is a bad show, I am not. I do think this is a worthwhile show for everyone to give a shot, but if you don't get it, if you don't like it, again, this is kind of one of those shows that is a little bit niche in what it's trying to do, but it's also trying to do a little bit of everything at the same time. It's got that kind of shonen battle-esque kind of stuff. It's got that shoujo romance kind of stuff. It's got that mystery thriller. It's got that Japanese culture down pat, including its new age parts of it, where they're just rumors that come to life. I like a lot of this show. Atmosphere is totally down. I love everything about its environment. I love everything about the character designs. That green hair chick, cute beyond all belief. All the other girls are really, really cute too, but like there's always that one character in a show that makes me go, okay, yeah, I like this design. The fox girl was definitely it, but that's a little bit too my taste. If I'm giving another one, it's definitely the green hair girl. But the story just kind of continues to be a good school life mystery kind of show. We get to see that there are some characters who, yeah, we should have known that the student council president, who has the same last name as the guy who's hunting down Hanako-kun, is also a spirit hunter. I don't know what they actually are, but he's also one of them. I think that's good. I think that's cool. I just don't know if it is all that well knitted into the story. Right now I'm kind of concerned as to where it's going in that department, but we're only about halfway through this season. As far as I know, this is an ongoing manga series, so it could just come to an end. I hope it doesn't. I hope it leaves itself up to a continuation. I like it when series do that. I don't like it when they don't get continuations, but I don't like it when they force an ending. So here's hoping that this, if nothing else, fizzles out well. But I'm still enjoying it. Not one of my top shows this season so far. But that is because we have a lot of shows that are really, really good this season. It's a tough competition right now. And this show is doing just fine. Not doing the best, doing just fine. I feel a little bit frazzled in my conversations right now, but we're just going to keep on plowing through. Next show, please. Everybody say it with me now. What the fuck is this show? Again, I'm probably going to say this every single week. Just because I say that does not mean it's bad. It is very, very good. I don't get this show because I don't have the brain power to comprehend everything. This show is visually stunning when it wants to be, and when it's kind of taking that step back kind of approach, it still looks very well. It's just a little bit stiff. Again, another one bad part in this story, or not in the story. The story is still really, really great. I understand everything. I just don't understand the madness of it all. Or maybe it's the other way around. Who knows? I really don't. But to get to the point, The one thing I didn't like was there was the one fight between, I want to say their names are Nikaido and Noi. I think that's the two chicks' name. In that one scene where they're fighting and she jumps over the leg, I'm pretty sure she just literally went through her leg at one point. I don't know if that was supposed to be in the series or not, or if that was a graphical glitch that they missed. It did look rough, but the rest of the fight scene looked cool. Just that one part. And if I'm only finding one thing wrong with this episode, because everything else about it is great. Characters, dialogue, timing, editing. But when you have a show this tightly made, and I'm only finding one thing that I don't like about it, you got a great show. You absolutely do. So, I don't know, but this show is like slowly climbing ranks with me. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get too into this. I'm balls deep in this right now. I'm loving every single second of it. I want to know more. I want to see more. Give me more. Ain't dropping this. It's staying. But what else do we got? I was all over this show. I was all over it. And now I'm just not feeling it. They do have some very interesting concepts that they're going through. They definitely have some high fantasy going on in this. Very locked and loaded power magic going on. But that's about it, because the story feels like it's kind of falling apart, and I really don't know where it's trying to go. Like, honestly, I have no idea where this thing is trying to go. My best guess at this point is that how to put it? The characters are stuck because they have an ability that can earn them a job, and it's a bad ability to have, but Mafia pay good. They're trying to get out of it. One of them tried to get out of it, tried to take people with him, was unsuccessful, and is now trying to reclaim them in kind of the breaking down the system as much as possible kind of way. He gets trapped basically by his previous protege and is now having a hard time doing the things that he believes is right. I kind of get that feeling that they're trying to make their own way, but I don't really understand the greater goal of this story. The goal of this story, not the goal of the characters, but the goal of the story. And that's where I feel like it's losing its way. It has some very good concepts. The fact that he had to crush his own self to crush the other guy, I actually liked that. That as a concept makes sense. Because he has to share the same kind of happiness with the guy because he wasn't able to create his own happiness beforehand. If he crushes one, he crushes the other. Because they're sharing a thought process at that moment. That makes sense. The way he got revived also makes sense. The way the Bloody River thing went on, that was very interesting. That's its one visual motif that I've been enjoying, is like the water and the fish, how they kind of coalesce and go together. But the rest of this story is just not making sense. It is dropping places like a rock for me. And I really, really don't want that because it started out so well. That first episode is amazing. It could be a movie for all I care. But they dropped the ball because I feel like they don't know where this is going. I don't know anything about the manga, and I don't know where it is, how far along it is, if it's completed or not. But as far as I know, we're going to get something screwy in the end, or we're going to get something amazing that's going to tie it all together. And I don't think we're going to get something amazing. I think it is a chance of it happening, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I want to believe that we can get one or the other, and that hopefully it is the masterpiece. But at this rate, 2 bad episodes in a row, halfway through the season, it's not looking promising. Actually, I think it's more than halfway, whatever. It's not looking promising. Another episode like this, and it might be killed super early. Something I didn't think I would do. But with that heartfelt, emotional roller coaster out of the way, what's next? I would very much like it if this show would stop calling me out. Because for every bad reason, I am like the blonde guy, Kosuke. We're just going to leave it with that. Stop letting me be that guy. Stop having him be a mirror of myself, please. But beyond that, moving on to some nicer things, this show continues to be funny. I laugh at all the jokes. I can call most of the jokes coming a mile away, but you're still able to laugh at them because you understand that thought process, and you're like, there's no way they're going, okay, yeah, they did it. I thoroughly enjoy the comedy of this show. And when your concept is a romantic comedy where science is the driving force, and you use all of that well, you're doing a good job. I still laugh at it. I love all the new characters they bring in. The buff science dude, who is actually a really, really sweet guy, but is easily pissed off. Yeah, I can get behind a character like that. He is funny for this kind of environment. He is that right amount of absurdity, which is what this series strives on, is absurdity in a sense-making format. I just love the characters, the character interactions. That whole scene with Best Girl and the blonde dude cuddling up with each other was so sweet and hilarious because of how she was tormenting him. You can tell she definitely knows how to tease him, but you also know that she definitely doesn't just enjoy teasing him, but definitely just enjoys being around him. And that's a ship right there. That's a good ship. This show, only to me personally, only has 2 good ships. Main characters and the other 2. So when your whole foundation of a show concept is built around these guys and relationships, how do we define our love for each other at a scientific level? It's a great show, great concept, very funny. I want more of it, to be completely honest. I really don't know what else to say. Just, it's funny, I laugh, and for a show that's supposed to be a comedy, it's doing the right job. Some of these series are not getting the emotion across that they want to get across as well for me. This series is doing it. This series is doing what it's supposed to be doing. What it wants to do, it is doing. Thank you, Rike Koi, for doing that for me. Thank you very much. But we got more shows to watch, like... Hear me out on this. This is a very serious question about Nekopara. As someone who's played the games, as someone who's played the 18 and older patches, the 2 new characters in this series who are kind of... one of them's the focus and the other one is kind of like a recurring character, is the little cat girl and her little girlfriend. That's a statement. Is the main guy gonna bang them? Because if he is, I will give props to this show for at least being consistent with the source material. But I don't think I'm going to keep it on. And it's not for keeping this show PG. By no means am I willing to keep this show PG. I don't care about that. But I don't think I want to see that. I don't think I want to. Maybe they'll convince me otherwise. I highly doubt it, but at this moment, that's a little bit too creepy of a mind process going on about this series, because we know what this series ultimately is about. It's about cute cat girls, but it's what the guy does with the cute cat girls is why we keep coming back for more. And unfortunately, the story otherwise just does not hold up. It is not entertaining. It's cute, it's sweet, Cinnamon is still moist for some reason about everything, but beyond that, this show just isn't that entertaining. And I didn't want that to be the case, but I knew that was going to be the case, especially after I watched the original OVA. Oh, that OVA. So much money wasted. But regardless, this show just isn't hitting the mark. What it is, what we know it is, what we hoped it would be, it is not. And it really hurts me to say that, because I do like this series. These episodes are not bad, but when you compare them to others that I'm watching this season, it is bad in the end. Because we have a lot of good stuff, and this just isn't that good. I got nothing else better to say about this. I hate to do that. But let's move on. I feel like I'm speeding along with these, but I don't know. I feel like this was a rough week for me. Not only in like production time and being very limited on time to work on stuff, but also the episodes weren't all that interesting. Somali, on the other hand, did the opposite of that. I don't have a lot to say, but I do like that concept of we do have more than one. Okay, let me back up. Let me actually back up on that. In this world where humans are persecuted and killed off just for being humans, I don't think that's supposed to be an allegory for something, obviously. But in this story world where that is a thing, to find another human who is being basically taken care of by a monster kind of gives us this better reference point of what is the normal. It's not normal. This is very rare. The fact that they ran into each other is a very rare thing. But the fact that this is a possibility more than once kind of leads us to credibility that maybe the humans and monsters can get along, but also maybe there is more going on in the background of these stories. I'm further along than this story is letting up. I know what happens next. But the way it's going, the way the story is flowing, it always feels like there is more to this world, more to the story that isn't said because it's not known to the characters, therefore not known to us. Their world is very tiny, and this world that is being built is huge, massive. And I love that. I love the way they tell these stories. You want to know why these two are now traveling, why Somali is not with the other humans, why this girl is helping out the guy, why is he covered in feathers. It's not a spoiler because I'm not going to tell like why, but in the story, if you watch this far along, you want to know why is he like this. Why does she want to help him? It's doing a very good job of building these mysteries and building them off of very simple questions of just who, what, and why. But not asking so much as to like, give me all the details, just like, it's asking you very simply, well, why is he doing this when he normally wouldn't do this? Why is Golem helping Somali when it would not make sense? He's all about programming. Just why? And the simple answer could be, who knows? But if it is just this X answer, we would be happy with it because it would make sense the way these things are being built up. I like it in its storytelling. Visually and everything else, it is still running rough. But I'm still really enjoying it. It just has to fight other really, really good shows. It hasn't been doing a good run so far, but it did good this week. So let's keep it going. With our final show this week, which is... I have problems with this show. And they're not bad problems. They're just not good problems. I don't know what a good problem would be with this show at all. But to put it into words... This show could literally be the first, 3 or 4 episodes, and it would still work. The one thing that this show is not doing right, and I think it's because of the manga, is dialogue. The dialogue for these characters is great. You know things they would say. You know things they wouldn't say. You know a lot about these characters by the way they say things. But for the story, it is pointless. Straight up, a lot of the stuff that goes on in this story is literally 2 or 3 people sitting at a table talking. If Sword Art Online is bad for it, and it doesn't do it nearly as often as this show has done. Because literally, half of this episode was just them sitting at a table talking. It makes sense. It works from a conceptual level and on paper, but in action, in a visual, auditory medium, it is not that entertaining. And that's my biggest gripe with this show, is that this is probably a really, really good manga read. But as a show to watch, it's kind of lackluster. That first half of the episode with the fight between Kuro and Nanase, it was good. It was interesting. We were learning, and in a visual way. And then the girls kept talking over the fight. I hate that about a lot of shonen shows, where they show the fight, where you can see what happens, and then they explain what happens, and you're like, yeah, I already know. Some shows can do it in a cool way, like Shokugeki no Soma. It does it in a cool, interesting way. Not the best, but a cool and interesting way. This show does not. Again, when they were fighting, it was cool. When they broke away to have the characters talk about what they just saw happening, it was bad. The only thing that's keeping this show afloat for me is whenever we have good moments, they are really, really good, and the girls are all cute. That's about it on this show. I got nothing else left to say about this episode other than I'm so tired of them sitting around and talking. I would either like them to do something or to visually show us the information, have the characters react to it, have us understand it in a more visual way. Again, they're probably just adapting this from the manga. Apparently the manga is really, really good. I don't know. Never read it. But apparently it's good. It's definitely good enough for them to make an anime out of it, so I don't know how else to put it. I think I got everything back. It looks good. Uh Oops. Bumped the camera. Anyways, with all that being said, we have now come to the conclusion of this week, and it's now time to pick the top 3 best anime and the worst 3 anime and kick them off. Let's see what we got. Admittedly, this week was a bit harder to pick. I always say that when there's fewer anime to pick from, it's harder to pick a top versus a not. And I think that has something to do with it, but some shows that were doing not so good were doing better this week, and some shows that were doing good were not doing as well this week. So it was a bit more difficult to pick that top 3. Anyways, in third place, we have Dorohedoro. And like I said, everything about this show is doing well. Minus that slim bit of animation hiccuping. But other than that, story is great. Visuals are great. The characters are amazing. Interesting world. It all has everything you would need for a really, really good anime. Something that probably couldn't exist in any other medium. I don't see live action doing a show as well as this without having to jump through some hoops of not only character acting and visualizations from like a real life standpoint, but also like how people would take in media like that. This is something that only really exists in an anime format. And because of that, I think it's easier to consume anime that is weirder than stuff that is live action. It's hard for people to get into live action that is weird, that is on the fringes of what we consider to be entertainment. Dorohedoro does a perfect job of bringing that to the forefront. If you're not watching it, you're sleeping on it. Wake up, get to watching this. It is worth it. Moving on to second place, we have Rikekoi, which continues to be hilarious. I don't know how they can make a show this funny and absurd and still have it be believable in these characters. I know people who are like all of these characters. Not so much the sensei character, but the rest of them, I can point to someone in my life and have them be someone I know, especially the blonde guy, because he is me at times. Minus the fact that he's probably better looking than me. We're just going to ignore that fact and move on with our lives and be much happier. This show continues to be great. I love every single second of it. It is funny, and even if you can predict the jokes, they still hit. And that's a good thing, is that they give the jokes time to like breathe, digest, and be believable, and yet you know where they're coming from and you can feel them. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not a comedy minded person, but this show is great. It's funny, it's adorable, it's the characters are always so cute when they're being lovey-dovey. I just love every single second of it. It is a great, great show. But that leaves us with our number one show, and shocker of all shockers, it's It Invaded. I don't know how else to put it. I've seen people drop off on it saying the conceit is smart, the execution is dumb. And I completely disagree with it. I'm not going to say it's the best thing ever. I'm saying it is smart enough to continue to keep what it's doing consistent. It is trying to take that very sci-fi, fantasy, mystery element, but keeping it very real world and grounded at the same time. Like I said, the only thing that's holding back this show at this moment is the fact that it continues to rely too heavily on character dialogue to progress the conclusions instead of letting us see the clues, let us try to guess at it and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I've seen some people complain that like they took a picture and were able to figure out exactly which basement it's from. Yeah, that's kind of dumb, but that wasn't the clue that was important. What was important is what led us to the conclusion after that, where we got to see how everything was going through. Just because we got a picture and their science is strong enough to be able to conclude what type of basement it is and then narrow it down to a single one. We already get that with Criminal Minds, basically. Why is it so hard to do that in anime? But I'm digressing. This show is very, very well done, and it continues to build off of its core concept of the greatest detectives are the ones who can think like a serial killer. I believe that is its core concept. And a little bit of other things like personal redemption from having murdered. So, with that, I just gotta say, this show is great. It does its job great, and I love every single second of it. But now that we've gone through our top three, we gotta go through the bottom three and kill off that last one. But first, what was the third worst this week? It was kind of hard to put it here. Again, there are so many good shows that I believe there's like 3 shows that could fit in this position. But I looked at how angry I was in my recordings of them, and I don't mean like angry. I mean like, which one did I have the most negative things to say? In the end, Inspector, out of all of those in the middle, I had the most negative things to say about it, so it got bumped into third worst place. That's not to say it's a bad show. I'm greatly enjoying it. Just not enough to continue it by any means. Maybe I'll go and read the manga. Maybe I'll go and find another way to consume it. Or maybe I'll just wait till the end of the season. I don't know. But right now, it is just entertaining enough to make me not want to drop it, but not enough to fight for its survival. From there, we'll move on to our second worst of this season, or this week technically. Oh, it hurts me to say this, but I gotta give it to Pat. When you start off so strong and you start losing your way on that high, that wave, that energy moving forward, those first 2 or 3 episodes were brilliant. And then we got to these last 2 episodes where I'm just kind of sitting there going like, okay, I know what you're trying to do. I totally know what you're trying to do. But why are you doing it this badly? You had so much going for you. I might have to go and look to see like who's the different directors, or maybe I have to read the manga, I don't know, but it just feels like the energy evaporated. Like these scenes that should be really, really intense and really, really psychologically driving feel dead. Feel like we just need to get through these so that way we can get to the better parts. And if you're not getting me with the low points, you're definitely not getting me with the high points. You're not going to get me to go to those high points if you're just going to keep letting those low points be the lowest of the low. You can have a low point in a story and still have it be interesting enough to make you want to know what that high will soon be. This show is not doing it. This show is continuously making me feel upset about how it's doing that. So I can't, in good faith, keep it up too much longer. But it's not the worst show this week. And that show goes to Nekopara. And again, it's just like, I feel like I know where it should be going. And I don't care. Maybe I've consumed too much Nekopara as a light novel that I can't accept it in any other way. Oh, we want it this way, but we don't know what we really want. Because once they give it to us, we're like, that's not what I wanted. Yes, I like the cute cat girls. Maybe we'll get lucky and there will be an uncensored version where more stuff is added to each episode with a Blu-ray release. Who knows? But right now, I don't have the energy to keep up with it. I seriously don't. Cute cat girls can only go so far with a bad storyline. Or maybe no storyline, since it's just daily lives of cats, and it's not that entertaining. And when you know that it can be a different kind of better entertaining, I'm gonna use those words to describe it, you kind of feel lackluster for the show. It just isn't hitting the notes I want it to hit, and that might be a personal thing, but I'm just not wanting to. I don't want to force myself to like this show. So, with that being said, Nekopara, it's time to say your piece. And with that being said, Week 6 of the Anime Battle Royale has concluded. What lies in store for us next week? I really don't know. Because I didn't think I would have a list quite the way I did this week. Some of these episodes were really, really good. Some of these episodes were really, really bad. It's just a matter of, can they keep up the energy? Can they keep up that hype? Can I keep up with this series, especially if my computer tries to kill me again? Who knows? But again, I'd like to thank you all for coming out and watching this video. If you've made it this far, thank you so very much. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Every little bit of that helps immensely, to be 100% honest. I can actually see how much it helps, and every tiny little bit helps. But for now, thank you again for coming out. My name's Yoshino, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya!